Hello, boys and girls. How is everybody? This is Miss Olvera. We are in week 5 and day 4. I keep forgetting what days we are. So we are week 5, already week 5. That flew by. The days and weeks are passing by so fast. We are already almost at the end of April. Okay, so we are in week 5 and day 4, and we are going to continue reading. Miss Klute is a hoot. So I will be reading chapters 7 and 8 today. All right, so let's begin. Here we go. So chapter 7, chess for dogs. A few minutes later, Mr. Mackey came back from the teacher's lounge. Emily was with him, eating a hot dog. So, how are you making out with Miss Klute? Mr. Mackey asked. Ew, gross, we all shouted. We're not making out with Miss Klute. Arlo had a great idea, Andrea said. Go ahead, ask him, Arlo. Mr. Mackey, can we take Miss Klute outside for recess? I asked. Gee, I don't know, Mr. Mackey replied. Miss Klute is trained to be an indoor therapy dog. Please, 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 we all begged. I suppose Miss Klute could use a little fresh air, said Mr. Mackey. Well, okay. Yay! Like I said, that please, 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 it works every time. It really is a magic word. Mr. Mackey hooked Miss Klute's leash to her collar and said that we could take her outside until recess was over. Which one of you is the most responsible? He asked. I am, we all shouted. It was AJ's idea to take Miss Klute outside, said Michael. Okay, Mr. Mackey said, handing me the leash. Be careful with her. I will, I promised. When we got out to the playground, all the other kids came running over to us. Miss Klute is here, everyone shouted. Hi, Miss Klute. It was like she was the queen of the playground. Everybody wanted to pet her and hug her. We walked Miss Klute around and we showed her the monkey bars and the swings and the slide. She looked pretty happy. See, I said, she likes being outside. I should get the Nobel Prize for that idea. That's a prize they give out to people who don't have bells. Miss Klute was pulling on the leash, and I had to run and keep up with her. She was pretty fast for a big dog. Hey, maybe we can play fetch, I said, stopping to catch my breath. I don't know if that's a good idea, Arlo, Andrea said. Mr. Mackey didn't say it was okay to let Miss Klute run around without holding her leash. He didn't say it wasn't okay either, I told Andrea. He just said to be careful with her. Fetch is a simple game. You throw something and the dog runs and gets it, then he brings it back to you and then you throw it again. It seems like a pretty dumb game, right? If you ask me, but I guess playing fetch is like chess, but for dogs. There was a tennis ball in the grass. I let go of Miss Klute's leash and I threw the ball toward the soccer field. Go get it, girl, I shouted. Miss Klute took off, running like the wind. Look at her go, Ryan yelled. It was amazing. Miss Klute chased down the ball, caught it with her mouth even before it stopped bouncing. Then she ran back and she dropped the ball at my feet. Good girl, we all said, petting Miss Klute. She was panting and her tongue was hanging out. Do it again, AJ, Neil said. So I threw the ball a little farther this time, and Miss Klute took off after it. Again, she grabbed it in her mouth and brought it back to me. She looked like she wanted me to throw it again, so I did. And she dashed off to go get it. Miss Klute sure likes to run, shouted Ryan. She's having so much fun, said Alexia. I think she just wanted to play, said Michael. I've never seen her so happy. That's when the weirdest thing in the history of the world happened. A squirrel ran out into the soccer field. Well, that's not the weird part because squirrels run out onto soccer fields all the time. The weird part was what happened next. Miss Klute saw the squirrel run in front of her. I guess that squirrel was a lot more interesting than the tennis ball. So then Miss Klute changed direction and she ran after the squirrel instead of the ball. The squirrel must have freaked out when it saw the giant bear-sized dog chasing it. So it changed direction and it headed for the woods next to the playground. Miss Klute followed the squirrel. The two of them disappeared into the woods. "Where did you go?" asked Ryan. I looked at Ryan, and then Ryan looked at Michael, and then Michael looked at Alexia, then Alexia looked at Neil, then Neil looked at Andrea, and then Andrea looked at me. Then we all looked at the woods. Miss Klute was gone. And there's Miss Klute running after the squirrel. That's the end of chapter 7. So now we will begin chapter 8. It's called, do you want to know the name? The Worst Day of My Life. Okay, let's read. "What are we going to do?" I shouted. "We have to find Miss Klute. You have to find Miss Klute, Arlo. You're the one who lost her." "Oh man, you're in trouble, AJ," said Ryan. "If Miss Klute doesn't come back, you'll probably be suspended for the rest of your life." I thought trying to figure out if that was a good or a bad thing. "No, they'll probably just lock AJ up in the dungeon on the 3rd floor, said Michael. "I told you not to let Miss Klute out and run around without a leash, Arlo," Andrea said. "Now she's gone, and it's all your fault." Every time I do something wrong, Andrea has a little smile on her face. What is her problem? Ring! Oh no, it was the bell. Recess was over. I looked towards the woods one more time, hoping to see Miss Klute come running back out. But she didn't. Everybody went inside the school. I was the last one to come in, and Mr. Mackey was waiting for me in the hallway. "Who is holding Miss Klute?" he asked. "Did she like being outside?" I guess so," I told him. "She's still out there, somewhere." "What?" Mr. Mackey's eyes were bugging out of his head like golf balls. "Well, we were playing fetch, and, a squirrel ran by, and Miss Klute took off after the squirrel, and they both went running into the woods, and that was the last time we saw her." Mr. Mackey, he's not happy. Mr. Mackey looked like one of those cartoon characters who gets really mad and smoke pours out of their ears. "I told you to take good care of her," he yelled. "I did. She was having a great time, right up until the moment that you ran away." "We have to find her," Mr. Mackey said. Then he went running down the hall towards the office. A few seconds later, there was an announcement over the loudspeaker. "All students and teachers, report to the playground immediately. Miss Klute is missing." A second after that, everybody poured out of their classrooms, yelling and screaming and freaking out. "Miss Klute is missing. Where is she? We have to find her." What happened next was the biggest manhunt in the history of the world. Or dog hunt, anyway. The whole school, kids and grown-ups, they ran into the woods by the playground. We were all searching for Miss Klute. "Yoo-hoo! Miss Klute! Where are you?" Everybody was shouting. Mr. Mackey was walking around the woods with binoculars. Our security guard, Officer Spence, was searching for clues with a magnifying glass. Our science teacher, Mr. Docker, was wearing night vision goggles. Our art teacher, Miss Hannah, was putting up missing posters with Miss Klute's pictures on them. Our computer teacher, Mrs. Yonkers, she was holding up a weird machine that said dog detector on it. Our librarian, Mrs. Rupee, she passed out books to all the kids, and she told us that if we were reading, Miss Klute might want to come out of her hiding place. A few minutes later, a helicopter was hovering overhead. Mrs. Lilly, a reporter from the local newspaper, showed up. She showed up in a van with a camera crew. She ran over to interview Mr. Mackey. "Why did your therapy dog run away?" asked Mrs. Lilly. "Did you beat her? Did you starve her? Did she have rabies? Did she bite somebody? Are you a part of a dog fighting ring? What do you know, and when did you know it? My readers want to know the truth." "We'll find Miss Klute," Mr. Mackey told her, "if it's the last thing we do." But after an hour or so of searching all over the woods, we still hadn't found Miss Klute. It was hopeless. "Well, I guess Miss Klute isn't coming back," said Principal Klutz. "Let's go inside, everyone." Some of the kids were crying. I saw some other kids, they were whispering and they were pointing at me. They knew it was my fault. This was the worst thing to happen to me since TV turnoff week. Miss Klute had run away. And now I wanted to run away to Antarctica and go live with the penguins. Bummer in the summer. And that is the end of chapter 8, boys and girls. Miss Klute is missing. So please make sure you watch tomorrow's video. So today's Thursday, tomorrow is Friday. Make sure you watch Friday's video to listen to chapters 9 and 10 so we can find out if they found Miss Klute. Or does she stay missing? What do you all think? What do you think is going to happen? Maybe you can share your responses on Class Dojo. Try to send me a message and tell me what you think is going to happen. Okay? All right, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed today's story, today's 2 chapters that we read, and don't forget to watch tomorrow's video. Okay? Thank you for listening. Let me put my bookmark. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a fantastic, no, let's do T. I hope you have a thundering Thursday. All right, boys and girls, you'll see me tomorrow